I want to start out this stream by saying that I am in no way an expert on anything. I'm just a jackass voicing my opinions on the internet. So, with that in mind, let's get into this. I heard about this on Friday Night Tights. Roy Price, the former head of Amazon Studios, he's actually the guy who created Amazon Studios. He has a Substack now where he's voicing his opinion on things. He's got this unique perspective on things, and the first thing he wanted to talk about is the current state of Hollywood, of mainstream media, basically. And let's get into this. Do you find it odd how mainstream media, Hollywood podcasts generally take the tone that everything is fine? Few companies are making money, tons of people are getting laid off, no one is getting back end, and many important shows and movies aren't landing with audiences. What exactly is fine? Yeah, exactly. What is fine about that? The 10 biggest business issues in Hollywood, according to Roy Price. Interest rates are up. No one cares about your imaginary earnings in year 10. Cryptocurrency is a scam. Investors want profits now. Shift from growth to profitability. The rapid decline of pay TV, 66% of homes now. That's actually still pretty high, actually. The apparent saturation of SVOD, I'm guessing that's video on demand, something video on demand, at least in the most lucrative markets. Yeah, and video on demand really has gotten saturated. Like, we get a lot of crap. Very, very few actually quality shows or movies now. Number four, the still bad state of theatrical. Yeah, despite Top Gun. Top Gun is a special case. Like this was a sequel like what, close to 40 years in the making. Well, 30 years, I guess. And it's just a fun throwback, to the 80s basically, and got a good story. You can argue the trench run was just ripped from Star Wars. It kind of was, but it's still like a good story. Actually respected the characters that came before, actually continued the story, and I think it did pretty good for what it was. The growth of TikTok and YouTube, yeah, TikTok especially. Most young people now are spending so much fucking time on TikTok. It's insane. And YouTube, yes, I spend a lot of time on YouTube. I mostly listen to YouTube when I'm going to work, when I'm coming back home. YouTube is where I get most of my content. I mean, I still watch movies every once in a while and shows, but yeah, YouTube is where I'm spending most of my time. The revolution at Twitter. So, okay, Twitter's going through a transitional phase right now because Elon just bought it. Elon Musk bought it, and he's getting rid of a lot of the dead weight. Like, they had so many people working there, and so they were spending so much money on these people that were really not doing anything, because you see him firing all these people and the platform still works pretty well. So you can see that they did not need all these people. The rise of fast free streaming like Tubi or Pluto. My dad has Pluto, and he watches, like, they got old episodes of Beverly Hillbillies and whatnot on there, and so yeah, that's growing. The apparent death of the movie star. That's true. I mean, you don't get very many stars nowadays that can actually get people to flock to the theaters and see them. Maybe The Rock, to some extent, but I don't think Jungle Cruise did that well, or did it? I don't know. Black Adam kind of bombed, and that's a DC character. I mean, he's like a B-list character, C-list character, but he's still like a pretty big character. So you have Tom Cruise still, but even with him, like, he couldn't get people to go see that Mummy movie. there's not very there's not a lot to go around. Like, uh, there's not any movie stars I can really think of that can just get people to go to the theater anymore. What will Web 3 mean for IP owners and content creators? Web 3. I'm going to have to. That I don't even know what that is. To research that real fast. The birth of AI. We see that a lot with. I mean, you're seeing that on Facebook right now with the freaking portraits that everybody's doing, and everybody knows that's just to get your information. Like, you're paying, with a card to use this, the subscription. They're gonna get, they're gonna sell your information to somebody. In Hollywood, SVOD feels mature and pay TV is shrinking. One thing that is exposing is that really the world of cable TV subscriptions plus ads plus ownership in the form of DVD plus a healthy theatrical business was a much better business than just having one subscription to an SVOD service. This is mostly because the old system with price discrimination in windows was able to capture the surplus in the demand curve much better than just a single window and single price. It is arguable that too much value is currently going into the SVOD segment of the value chain. What he's saying is you don't want everything lumped into one place. You want some variety, and you want to be able to cut things if you want to cut things. You don't want um you don't want to put too much on the consumer, or they'll just decide to cut the cord. Be like, okay, I'm paying too much for this shit now. Like with Dish, you see that with uh basic cable. People just get tired of paying so much, so they're like, okay, screw this. Another self evident issue no one talks about is that the shows and films are not connecting with audiences as they should be and used to. Yeah, that's a no shit Sherlock. You have these companies trying to inject their own politics into their shows and movies, and the audience just gets turned off. When it's right in your face, it turns people off. Like you can have subliminal messaging in your movies, but like if you're just like banging people over the head with things, they're not gonna like that. People don't like to be preached to. The number of new shows that audiences love has noticeably decreased in the past 4 years by 50%, 53%. Meanwhile, the audience's general connection to Hollywood seems to be diminishing. Awards show, yeah, the Oscars and whatnot, viewership has fallen off the table 70%. As Samuel Goldman said, include me out. Yeah, we would not have gotten any talk about the Oscars this past year if not for the Will Smith slap. Although Netflix did just premiere Wednesday, which is a good show, I recommend it, which has been well received and got an 8.5 on IMDb. Otherwise, Netflix's new series seem to have lost their luster by 70%. I don't know where he's getting all these numbers. IMDb. Oh, okay. I guess he's just going by the IMDb ratings. Despite writing on older series such as The Crown and Stranger Things, I predicted in late 2021 that they would soon stop growing in the US. They have. Yeah, whoa, look at that. 2020, yeah, there was like nothing in 2020. Disney has also seen a sharp downturn in its objective quality metrics. Yeah, they just had that quarter, the call not long ago, and soon after the CEO was fired and replaced with the old CEO. I covered that in another video. Marvel used to be a lock for an A cinema score, but 3 of its last 4 films have been B or B plus. I'm surprised they're that high because I have seen some of these movies that they're talking about here, and they're not good. She Hulk was not good. I haven't seen Miss Marvel because I had no interest in it. Yeah, She Hulk had 5.2 on IMDb. Miss Marvel had 6.2. That must be disconcerting. And yeah, obviously it is because Disney's going through some changes right now. Strange World has grossed $21 million in the US and got a 4.7 on IMDb. Damn. That's the lowest score I've ever seen. He says, like, I don't think that's the lowest score of all time. Lightyear got an IMDb 6.0 and grossed 226 million worldwide. Not strong. Yeah, these movies both lost money for Disney. Like I think Lightyear's budget, I could be wrong. Was it at might have been 250? It's something crazy like that. And then Strange World was like 180 million. This is not just an art issue, it is a business issue. As Hollywood's quality has objectively declined, so has growth and so has cash flow. This is like content inflation. We're technically getting the same amount of content. It just isn't worth as much. And customers don't like it. We need ultrasound content. The problem is not that a couple tiny films like Bros bombed, but that many of the big bets bombed. That's like a standoff between the execs and the audience. I don't know how big these bets were. Well, yeah, they are big bets because they're spending a shit ton of money on them. They're not sure bets though, like No Way Home was. That grossed close to $2 billion. If Warner Brothers would just come out with a standalone Superman movie with Henry Cavill as Superman, that could make $1 billion. If you have the right person writing it and directing it, you can have you can knock it out of the park. We can debate what the broader problem is, and I think there are multiple issues, but primarily it's a choice. People are either bad at being executives and producers, etc., or they are deliberately making quirky choices. You have to be pretty removed from the Hollywood department world not to understand that there has been a major shift in what Hollywood is willing to make, a conscious movement away from the audience, away from comedy, certainly. That's because of woke politics. That's because of people being afraid of getting canceled. That's because you can't even tell a joke nowadays without getting slapped. Away from material that is too smart, quote unquote elite, and away from, let's say, things like Top Gun and Yellowstone that feel red state-ish. See, I don't know if he just means these shows and movies are patriotic, or if they're, I don't know, they display more traditional values, I guess. There's a patriarch in Yellowstone who's, just trying to keep his family together. There's Top Gun, where the guy is a patriot. He fights for his country. And to say they're just red statish movies, I think kind of writes them off. Like, they're just good. They're just good shows and movies. They're normal. They're just there to. They do create a conversation, especially Yellowstone. But they're mostly there to give you a good time. You're there. You're watching them to have fun, basically, and that's what movies are supposed to do. They're not supposed to preach at you. Paramount is the outlier for the moment, but I'm not sure whether that's intentional or if they stumbled into it. Paramount has its own. Yeah. Let's just say it's a woke experiment. Paramount has that Halo series that's gotten panned for being woke, and also, what else? They have Transformers, which seems to be going woke a little bit. You can look at the comments about about the new movie. I'm really not that interested in it anymore. Like, I like the first three movies. A lot of people did not like any of them after the first one. Uh, let's just Top Gun, House of. Why does everybody say House of Dragon? It's House of the Dragon. It's called the prequel to Game of Thrones. And Yellowstone defied the odds and got made, requiring huge stars or properties to do so. They had good writers on them also. Like Rings of Power did not have good writers on it. Neither did She-Hulk. Neither did a lot of the recent Marvel entries, and they became the hits of the year. They demonstrated that there is still tremendous demand, even theatrical demand, for fairly traditional but very high quality entertainment. Yeah, no shit. People want high quality entertainment. You see what succeeds and what fails. You should know by now what works and what doesn't, just by gauging the audience. But a lot of times these creators, they want to attack their audiences. They call them racist, they call them instaphobes, whatever. It's turned a lot of people off, and that's why they're retreating to other things like YouTube or TikTok or anime, whatever. On the tech side, AI is going to be important. The thing Hollywood people sometimes don't get is that the first time you meet a tech product, it comes in the form of a puppy. But it will grow and get bigger and bigger, and get bigger and better. And Chat GPT, I have no idea what these are, and Midjourney are already impressive. It is time to think about how these can be put to use, designing characters, backgrounds, and stories. And they're going to do this. Like that's also what the Friday Night Tights crew was talking about, is how you can use these things at least eventually to make your own like comic books. You can make your own illustrations for your novels, if you want, and then eventually you can make your own. Well, people are already doing this, making their own movies using these kind of AI generated backgrounds and whatnot. As the technology gets more easily accessible to the general public, the the Hollywood elites are going to rage because you're cutting into their business. You're giving them competition that they really were not prepared for. Company comments: I expect Twitter to expand more aggressively into other media. It will be more of a competitor to YouTube and, like WeChat in China, a bigger player in media in general. This has a lot of potential. The slow pace of feature development pre acquisition will really accelerate. China has been a disappointment for Hollywood, but you can still invest in their domestic business. America has kind of a tenuous relationship with China right now, so no telling if there'll even be a future. There will even be a future with them and the box office for American movies. Their stock is up 50%. IQIYI. Yeah, I think he gets like really in depth to stock. AMC, I guess, is having trouble. They've got some good shows. Walking Dead though just ended, so they'll be looking for something new. And the whole Breaking Bad universe that's kind of ended now with Better Call Saul. I think that's good. They should go out on a high note. Just leave it be now. Maybe find something new. Disney, their stock has been going down hard. They lost 1.5 billion in the last quarter. That's what they were talking about on that conference call. Star Wars is Disney's biggest bet right now. Like this Marvel's kind of going down. They gotta stick to their Star Wars television. Mandalorian brought Star Wars back to life. I would say briefly, then Disney shot a lot of that goodwill right in the face when they fired Gina Carano and they just went on these constant fan baiting attacks with every new show with Boba Fett. Well, Boba Fett, I remember it more with Kenobi than Boba Fett, but they just always like want to fan blame for all their mistakes. When the show's not good, they blame the fans for complaining. Well, it's just gotten ridiculous, and it really turned me off. That's why I just stopped watching anything Disney unless I'm, you know, on the high seas or whatnot. Disney really should give. He says Disney really should give John Favreau $1 billion as thanks for that. Yeah, I wouldn't call him the savior just yet. I mean, you saw Boba Fett, right? That was John Favreau's show, and it was terrible. So this guy is not infallible. Concerns mostly discussed above, but I would also note that the Star Wars movie franchise seems dead. Yeah, that's because Disney was pretty reactionary after the Last Jedi came out, and there was such big fan backlash. It was just a few months later that they released Solo, a Star Wars story, and people just were not interested in seeing it. It bombed. I mean, people were not interested in a Han Solo. Uh, what do you call it? Backstory movie. Um, a prequel movie, to a prequel. uh, and especially the way they went about it. There were certain things. I guess people would read the spoilers and would be like, "Oh God, why did this even get made?" Because you revealed they revealed that he didn't even his name wasn't even Solo. Like it was a name given to him by an Imperial guard randomly. Like I thought that was stupid. But I didn't hate the movie. I still liked the movie overall. But I could see why other people didn't. And Last Jedi, same thing. I convinced myself that that was a good movie, but eventually I realized this was a big opportunity missed. Like you really did this to Luke Skywalker. You made him this guy who would just want to kill his nephew just when he sensed a little darkness inside him. Like like raise his lightsaber to his nephew. And walk away from the Jedi, walk away from the Force, and just become this recluse. Like never see his loved ones, his family, nobody. The more I think about it, the more I get mad. That's why I've just kind of turned off from Star Wars. If you want good Star Wars, go back and read the EU novels, the Legends novels, because it continues the story of Luke and Han and Leia. They're all still alive. I mean, Chewie gets killed in in one of the new Jedi Order books. Spoiler alert! But most of the characters they're still around and still doing their thing. Having these adventures. The Luke starts a new Jedi Order, and there's a couple of students who turn to the dark side, but it's never fully gone. Like nobody destroys his Jedi Order or anything. Uh, so yeah, I just wanted to. He goes hard into SVOD. I'm not even interested in that. I just wanted to read what his thoughts were on. Oh God, crypto? No, no, man, no. I guess that's these Hollywood elite types' answer for everything. I just wanted to go into this guy's state of media year end thoughts because many of them voiced my thoughts. That Hollywood is out of touch. They don't realize that the way of going about things right now is just not connecting with the audiences. That's why and people are not going to the theater as much. People are turning away from their streaming services. So I don't really know what Hollywood could do to turn things around. They have to. They really have to. They really have to plug into what their audiences really want, not just what the Twitterati want. The crazy people always complaining about shit on Twitter. Uh, what they want. Look at what the core audience wants. Also, stop trying to please everyone. Please, I don't know, the majority. Yeah. You can maybe get back to making as much money as you were. Who knows? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.